Hello. Thank you very much for joining our French Derby preview. This is one of about 3 pieces of content that we've been doing on the French Derby. Importantly, on our website, we do have a full runner-by-runner guide. So in today's preview, we'll probably just talk through a few of the horses, a few of the different pockets, look at the form of the French 2000 Guineas, etc. And obviously, Daniel, I believe, will be putting up a couple of selections, maybe a couple of outsiders if you're lucky. And let's get straight into it. Oh, I suppose actually before we start, I normally have a lot of interest in the French Derby, and it throws up some horses that will end the season rated about 130, arc winners, arc favourites. We've got St. Mark's Basilica, Vidani, Sotsas, all in the last 5-6 years or so. To me, there doesn't appear to be a horse that's quite of that quality in this field.
I pretty much share that view, certainly in terms of it producing an arc winner, because I mean the main players, which we'll come to, coming from the French 2000, and nothing has really stamped itself eye-catchingly on the middle distance French scene yet. So we'll look at some of them, but maybe in the rearview mirror, their form will look better after this race than before. But yeah, like you, I'm pretty surprised if this was a seriously strong running.
Yeah. And well, interestingly, I mean, as I mentioned, the main pocket of form for this comes from the French 2000 Guineas, and the horse that came first and second were both potentially the third stringers from their respective breeding operations. John Quill for Juddmonte and Henri Matisse for Coolmore. They were certainly by no means their big pin-up horses for the year. So looking at the French 2000 Guineas, how do you think it's going to have a role in this race?
I mean, certainly I find these among the most interesting, or at least I would say some of these are the most likely ones to win this race. I mean, perhaps because it was the 2000 Guineas, of course, and the forms in the book in that Grade 1. So they really tower over the others on the ratings. It's a funny race, the French 2000, in that it was run at an extraordinarily fast pace. And that was very beneficial for those who were ridden cold a long way back. So, which includes our favourite, Camille Pizarro, currently 7-2. There were doubts about him. He had a bad draw. But because the field was so stretched out so early, I don't really think the bad draw was that detrimental. And what was really positive was to avoid the teeth of that fast pace. So, given that I have slight doubts about his stamina, which, by the way, have been shared on multiple occasions by Aidan O'Brien, he said of a pivotal mare. It's a stab in the dark in terms of finding out whether he stays a mile 2.5. And he's now got in a sense, a theoretically good drawn inside, but it's 1 of 18. And as he's a come from behind horse, he's going to need luck. So yeah, I won't be going on him with a wager, but clearly a talented colt, and the only Grade 1 winner in the field, thanks to the Jean-Luc Lagardère last season. More interesting for me is, and I think has bundles of talent, is this Aga Khan colt Ridari, who I'm going to say was really third in that race. He was actually 5th, but he was snatched up. If you watch that race again, the side on I can find on YouTube doesn't actually show it very well why he was snatched up. I thought he got spooked, but apparently John Quill interfered with his line or something like that. But he was flying at the end. He's out of motivator mare. Step up and distance should be very much in his favour. Bit temperamental and not the fastest of starters, so it's probably a little bit of a wild ride with this one. But I get the feeling if there's one colt in here who might blow this apart, and echoes of some of those other greats you mentioned, I think it's Dari. He's 6-1 or thereabouts at the time of writing. Luther finished pretty much alongside Camille Pizarro. And he's 4 times the price, or almost 4 times the price. He's 12-1 here. Now he's drawn wide again, 13 of 18. It's not quite as bad, the bias for this race, as the French Guineas. But it's the fact that he was the only one of these 4 who raced not on the lead, but quite up there, with just behind the ferociously fast-running front quartet. I think he did really well to finish as close as he did. I think because of this is not Aga Khan, this is not Gosden. I think he's overlooked in the market. And if the places come, 4 places, possibly 5, when the bookmakers start to, do their 48-hour pricing, which is all a bit haphazard at the moment, I will play this guy each way. I think Luther. I think he's dangerous.
Okay.
Yes, Detain, the sole Judmont entrant. He's well drawn. He came 6th in the French 2000. Connection seem to think he'll improve for the step up in trip. Not absolutely sure about that on pedigree. 9-1. Judmont have such a wealth of 3-year-old talent with the Colts division. If this is the one they've said is our horse for this race, then he should be taken seriously. But I don't think I'll play him on the basis of that French Guineas running. But I don't see any reason why he should finish ahead on form, and I'm not sure about the step up and trip unlocking more improvement.
Okay, and then we'll move on to the rest of the British and Irish contenders, and specifically probably Trinity College, King of Cities, and Beaumark. The 3 of these horses, their pedigrees are absolutely stunning. We've got a Kingman, a Dubawi, and Trinity College. I'm more interested in the mare this time. He's out of Hermosa. Absolutely fantastic pedigrees. Do any of these 3 tickle your interest?
Yes, in fact, the 2 the longer in the betting, the shortest in the betting is Beaumark. He's single figure price, 9-1 best. He's run 3 times. He's won 2 novices easily by multiple lengths, but beating nothing. And he was 2nd in the listed Burton Stakes on the all-weather. This was his seasonal debut this season, but didn't win that. A 6-4 favourite. Maybe being a Gosden horse, he was going to improve for that. Connections seem awfully bullish, but on what he's actually done, I don't quite get it. I'm not going to back him. Fascinating to see how he fares. I think if you are interested in this one, and in the next one I'm going to mention, I think the PMU, the French, you could get a really good price or a better price by betting on the French market. King of Cities is a really interesting one in that 3 juvenile runs, 2-year-old runs didn't amount to much. Comes back in the Fileden, does everything wrong, breaks slowly, gets a bump in the race. Doesn't win, but only goes down a bit to Almeric, who we've yet to see out again. What's interesting about this, and which is why connections have been prompted to supplement him, is that was run an extremely fast time. So for people who like their clock, this horse has plenty of boot. Behind him, for example, that day, beaten 6 lengths, was Nightwalker, who's been taking quite a bit of money as an outsider in the Derby. He was beaten much less than the Dante. Now that might have been Gosden horses improving, but I'm quite interested in King of Cities, and I'd love to see what price he goes off on the French, on the English and the French bookmaking side, tote on the French, because I think you could get a real price. I'm quite interested in him. And Trinity College, 2nd string, Wayne Lorden. I don't think he's going to take much money. But I just know that the stable, and I have said this before, they think he's much better than he's able to show as a 2-year-old. Now we've heard that line before. But on his 1 first time out this season, and in the Epsom, I'm going to call it the Blue Ribbon Trial. I can't remember the one that's actually run at Epsom. You've got to watch that horse run. He was only 2nd, didn't quite pick up the winner, but he ran into the back of about 3 horses. He was all at sea on the undulating on the camber, particularly in the last 2 furlongs. I hated every minute quite clearly. Goodness knows how far he would have won by on a conventional track. So again, this is a price I'll watch, and I might have a little interest in Trinity College for Ballydon.
Okay, and for those who don't know, Chantilly regarded as a very fair track.
Yeah, pretty fair. Unfortunately, it's an 18-horse field, and they go round bend. They've got a long time before they take the bend, but it's not fair in the sense that being 18 is a dreadful draw, and having a single figure is a good draw. But as a track, and it picks up the slope, picks up towards the end. But we're not talking wild Epsom camber. No, nothing like that.
Okay, cool. Then continuing on the French theme, then in terms of French challengers, are there any in the market that didn't run the 2000 Guineas that you find interesting?
There's one you have to mention. I don't like him, but you have to mention because of his last 3 figures are 1-1-1, And the connections, wait for this, it's Godolphin, Andre Fabre, William Buick. And that combination of things, this is, the French leading Derby hope, along with Rodari, similar price, 7-1. Who knows, he might take shorter. My problem is that the 3 runs he's had, 1-1-1, the form looks pretty nothing, pretty weak compared to, for example, those that have run in the French 2000 Guineas. So he's yet to really show, including on the clock, that he's got a class for a rate like this. So yeah, I wouldn't want him at 7-1. Still 12 out of 18. It's not a disaster. Definitely one to watch. The other two who are shortish, the other French in the betting are Sineleo and Nitoy, both the Wertheimer blue and white colours. Sineleo, extraordinarily, has been chosen by Maxime Guion, who's the retained jockey. He's run once, 2 weeks ago, in a maiden. No, he did win it, but I'm shaking my head in disbelief that they're 2 weeks on from that. They're chucking him straight into here. So, and he's now 10-1 best. So no, I'll let him beat me for sure. And Nitoy, the other Wertheimer horse who Guion has got off, he won one of the trials for this, the Prix de Suresnes. And I wouldn't find him uninteresting were it not the fact he's drawn 18 of 18. So he's a toss for me.
Okay. Prix de Suresnes, I wonder if that is named after a ski run. The Suresnes, beautiful run in, I can't remember whereabouts in France, out to us possibly.
That's good knowledge. All I can tell you from going to Arc Day is the metro, the tram stop across the Seine from Longchamp. It's the name of so it obviously has more echoes for the French. Maybe it's some battle.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't understand, but yeah, I think it's one of the longest runs in Europe, the Suresnes. Okay. Yeah, it's a lovely ski run. Cool. Coming back to the racing, any outsiders?
So we haven't mentioned about half the field, actually. Sort of keep this brief, I think, rather than bore people. I've divided it into, so just looking at my notes here, the complete throwouts. So Hay Batley, Frankly Goodsen, and Al Ali. I'm not even going to mention them. They're complete throwouts to me. The nose, but might take a bit of money, and some people are interested in Tipinso, Parachutiste, and Camp. I don't quite see those winning. Parachute has beaten nothing in his 2 recent wins, and it's got a bad draw. Camp was actually on my complete throwout, but he was the subject of a glowing report by Francis-Henri Graffard, I think the trainer is. So I'll have another look at that and see in the market whether he's taking a lot of money. And Tipinso, again, was a sort of no for me, but I noticed someone has already, some tipsters already put that up as their pick for this whole thing. So I went back and looked at it, and he's out of on the breeding front. He'd be lucky to get a mile. He does get a
Pinatubo, isn't
he? Yeah, and a Max female. I wouldn't scream 10.5 furlongs, but yeah. Anyway, so those are the no's. The two that I'm really interested in, and I'll probably play, certainly if these prices are available when people go, only Ladbrokes Cole doing 4 places. If we could get these sort of prices when they go 4 places, I'd play one, if not both. The biggest price is Azimport. That's Aga Khan's second colours, I think. He's 1-1 and then disappointed next form figure in this Prix de Suresnes. And I thought, well, okay, maybe that's as good as he was. But reading Paris Turf 2 days ago, this is the one where the trainer, again, it was Graffard saying he's completely bemused by that performance. He's much better than that. And he is in, can't remember the French, but I think it translated as he's in absolutely magnificent shape and we expect a good run. Given that he seems to have underperformed, if he's 50-1, I will play it as Azimport each way, despite the fact he's drawn wide. And also drawn wide, 15 of 18. last but not least is Leffard for Jean-Claude Rouget, who, of course, has a stunning record in this. By the way, he's also the trainer of Tip Pinso, which I think was the basis of the tipster who put up Tip Pinso. I prefer Leffard, whose form figures are 1-1-2. The 2 was again in this Prix de Suresnes. He was just touched off. Rouget was saying that that was not the day to have him primed. It was a means to an end. Wasn't really surprised he was beaten. And 11 prime for this. And again, at 40s, I just thought, given he's unexposed, will come on for that run. And given the trainer he runs for, yeah, both Leffard and Azincourt, quite interesting.
Okay, interesting. Yeah. So that's quite a few positively mentioned horses in the whole list there. Yes. When we look at every different action of the race. So if you're pushed for 2 selections, then if you're only allowed to play 2, who would you go for?
You take one at the front of the market and one at the back of the market, as it were. Yeah. So much in me says Ridari could well be the best horse in this race. I believe probably is the best horse in this race. I'm so tempted, but at twice the price, Luther, who had the worst of the pace dynamic in the French 2000 Guineas, I think I'll prefer Luther over Ridari, but that's an agony decision. The outside, I think this Azincourt, I'm going to give a try for. Hopefully 50s, definitely try and get 4 places. In an ideal world 5, but who knows? And I know I'm only allowed 2, but watch the PMU for if King of Cities and Trinity College get to silly prices, and this race does go to some horses at big prices, then I might have a few pennies on the Paris Mutuel.
Okay, and I know you're in France at the minute, right? Is that how you're able to access the Paris Mutuel, or would us over in the UK be able to get on a bet?
That's a really good question. Yeah, I've got a Paris Mutuel account, but I actually haven't that in France. I actually don't know because I've never tried to do it. But I think it may be worth trying. Sorry, ignorant. Yeah, I don't know. I'm lucky enough to have this French account, so I do it like that. Okay. But can't be more informed.
Yeah, well, one to look into then, guys. Okay, cool. Yeah. So, did you touch on it outside there, or was it King of Cities?
Yeah. No. The outside was Azincourt and FR are the huge prizes I like. Yeah.
Okay. Right. Terrific. Thank you very much, everyone. As mentioned, we have got an even more detailed horse by horse, runner by runner guide on the website. I'll put a link to that in the description. As ever, please do like, comment. We got a few more comments. We got a bit of a discussion going on our Oaks preview. So if you have a view on the Epsom Oaks, that is, go check out our other video and get involved in the debate. And yeah, thank you very much for watching this all the way through to the end, or if you've just skipped forward to see the selections. But yeah, thanks everyone, and we will speak to you soon.